welcome to Ugress TV episode 41. I just started the stream 30 minutes before the concert because this is the warm-up and hangout part where we're just gonna talk and do nothing, like just hang out and warm up before I'm starting in 30 minutes. So if you're watching this as a recording, you can skip ahead to the concert part at there's going to be a link below to the different tracks after I finish this. For now, I'm just going to say good evening to Atle is first here. Fresik couldn't be here today. So, and there's also to Atle's son. Hello. Warming up for next Saturday. Yeah, we're playing in Trondheim and Hamar next weekend. So, and that's the final shows of the Retrotopia tour. And then I can focus more deeply on live streams. If you've seen the previous live streams, I'm mostly testing out new material here because I'm kind of like parallel to touring. I have the live streams on the side as kind of like a smaller project where I'm testing out new material for the next album after Retrotopia. Chim Chim Cherry, hello, good evening. Good to see you also here. If you want to participate, if you want to join me on Zoom, I have a Zoom computer over there that you can join. I'm going to post a link to Zoom in the comments. There. If you click that, you will appear on the video up here, just like an insert, your face. The audio will keep coming from YouTube. And of course, you can't participate if you're watching this as a recording. Mr. Dan H, good evening. So I'm guessing that that the latency is that most people watch this when they arrive. So I have a few questions I'm gonna ask everybody, but I think I'm gonna wait until like in 15 minutes or so until most people are here. And at the start now, I will just kind of point out a few practical things that I will repeat later. But the vinyl store will close next week and will be closed for 6 weeks. That's because after the Retrotopia tour, I'm gonna take 6 weeks off. Not off. I'm gonna be traveling, and that means I won't be in the studio regularly to ship out vinyl. So for 6 weeks after next weekend, from October 1st until November 10th, the store is gonna be closed. So if you want to buy vinyl, now's your chance. Or the chance comes again in the end of November. John Einar, Stig Reitan, good evening everybody. It's very good to have you here. I just realized when I started the live stream today, oh dear, I haven't promoted this live stream. So I guess everybody who shows up tonight is actually core fans that made a note in the previous live stream that it's gonna be, the next one was gonna be today. And also, as I'm speaking of vinyl, I can no longer ship vinyl to the US. That's because the United States government, no, not the government, the administration, that means like the people in charge over there, they have introduced tariffs, but not a system to handle those tariffs. So European countries can no longer ship parcels with value to the United States. That's a bit of a bummer for me because Norway, Germany, and the US, that's like the big three. And with one of those gone, I've lost like 1/3 of my vinyl sales income. So I guess like if you're an American, you should probably vote for somebody with business sense for the next administration. See Moses Productions. If I want my music videos upscaled, I don't think so. I tend to, sometimes I use upscaling and I'm not super satisfied with that. I kind of prefer the lo-fi-ness of it. But interesting, send me a message. But I do tend to go the other way. I don't scale stuff, I don't upscale stuff. Concert is next weekend. Yes, you and I know. There's a show in Hamar and in Trondheim. Oh, and I'm gonna ask this question later, but I'm just gonna remember myself. I've gotten like over the year maybe 3 emails from people who ask, "Will you consider to start selling CDs, compact discs?" And the answer is always no. I do have some actually, but I don't want to go to the hassle of start shipping them or setting it up because it seems to me that I would sell like 5 CDs a year. But I wanted to ask, like, do you buy vinyl or if not, would you then buy compact discs? Is there actually anybody who would like that? I do have some, not the newest ones, but the rest of when I bought out the rights to my music, I also bought out all of the storage of the old CDs. So I have like the 4 or 5 first albums. I have like quite a lot of CDs of it that I thought I'm gonna keep it until it's retro cool again, and then I'm gonna sell them at terrible capitalist prices. But if there's actually a demand for them right now, I could set it up in the Shopify store. I just think that I'm gonna sell 5 CDs a year, and I'm not gonna work a week to set up a setup for 5 CDs a year. The host has another meeting in progress. Let me check that out. I'm ending the current meeting now. Aha, I found the problem. Thank you for letting me know. Tesla Fun, you're the first. Maybe somebody wrote it before and I didn't see it. I'm starting the meeting now. Okay, that's up and running, and this has happened before. It's because Zoom turns off the use your personal meeting ID when you install it. So that's the reason I started the meeting as I always do, and for some reason Zoom has chosen to do it without the original ID. But now it should be up and running, and Tool is a living proof of this. He just connected over there. Sorry about that, and Tesla Fun, thanks for letting me know. So, Simosis, thank you for sending me a message on Facebook. I will probably see that in December, which is the next time I'm scheduled to do something on Facebook. Please send me an email. I don't read Facebook messages. Ugress@ugress.com. That's a lot faster than Facebook. I'm never there. Thomas Nygren, good evening. Peace Cosmonaut. The Gaborski. Hey everybody, I was busy fixing my Zoom mess up there. Olivier, hey, good evening. T-shirts, hoodies, beanies. Yes, I would love to sell t-shirts. I probably would make the most money of selling t-shirts, but I don't have the logistics for that. Yes, I will release more songs on different projects, as not immediately, but I'm currently, like, what takes most of my time right now is touring and the administration of concerts. Once that is over, I have a commission. I'm gonna do music for a silent movie. That will be released under my name, probably not on Ugress. And I have, as you probably have noticed during the live streams over the last 6 months, there's a huge amount of new songs, and not all of those are going to be Ugress songs. They're probably going to be Nibbler Spool or some other side project. Thank you, Moses. Then we don't have to spend time on Facebook. Thank you. Chris, good evening. So I prepped some, like a lot of stuff has happened since we were last together. We had a show in Larvik. I will show you some photos of that. Here's that's Larvik train station, and here's me just arriving in Larvik. This was 2 weeks ago. We played here at Belgian Kulturhus. It's like a huge cultural house, and this was the black box that I was performing in. This is before we start setting up everything, and this is after everything is set up. I'm still traveling with the triple projection setup, which also is going to be in Hamar and Trondheim next week. And here I'm then performing. It's Regression 22 and Undead Funeral March. We're having fun with some cats on stage. Loungemeister is beaming out the purple monster. Reason to Believe. And Like a Paddle, but not really. That was great fun. Here's a very tired artist after the show, packed down and traveling back home. Larvik was really great, and I feel like that was probably the first show on the tour where everything worked, and we've kind of figured out solutions to all of this stupid small setbacks that always happen. I'm curious to see, but I did that solo, and the Hamar and Trondheim show is going to be with the drummer, so that's a bit of a more complicated setup and technological production. So there might be some small issues there, but I hope that these final shows now I can focus on the music, because that was what was so great in Larvik. When everything works, I can focus deeply on the music and the performance, and I have a lot more fun on stage if I don't have to worry about like the Zoom meeting ID. Oh, Tegoborski is in his lab coat with the green light. You can't see the green light because there's a black and white filter on the Zoom. Can I put that up on a separate screen? No, I can't. Oh wait, I'm gonna try here. Oh, I'm gonna break too many things. Start doing that. And we also played in Budapest. I'm gonna show you a video of that shortly. Just turn down the background music a bit and jump over here. So this is a speed run of the whole Budapest Shiget Festival performance. We landed Friday evening and drove into the city. I always enjoy driving into new cities and exploring the streets. Next day at the hotel, we are waiting for transport to the festival, and here's the transport. It's a lot of this when I'm on tour. It's cars and transport with my crew. So we're driving through Budapest towards the Shiget, which is an island, and actually Shiget means island in Hungarian. So it's kind of like Eja, just in Hungarian. Here's the security. We get these wristbands that identifies us everywhere. This is the artist representative. Here's one of the stage. It's one of the 50 stages at the festival. It's gigantic. I'm going to show you more of the festival area later. And here is our stage, the Magic Mirror, where we are performing. Entering the stage. Looks like this. This is our setup. This is my setup. Nasra is setting up her drums. There's a catwalk because some of the later performances used drag queens for their performance. like a model catwalk. So here we are testing sound and graphics. That's Sinna, my sound tech. She's very good. I'm very happy to be working with her. And here she is entering our backstage, which we were sharing with another artist. So this is backstage, and they have air condition. It was like 80 degrees Celsius in the air. And after soundcheck, we went for a walk. We had done like, I think, 6 hours until on stage. So we went to the artist village, which is a separate area for artists where you can get food and shade and air-conditioned tents. This was very nice. So we had a long meal there, and afterwards we just relaxed in the shade in the artist backstage area. After that, it was very warm, but we still wanted to check out the festival, and I was very happy to hear one of the other acts, like a breakdancing workshop. We're playing Frontline Assembly. And then we just roamed the festival area, looked at all the marketing, the branding, the franchising, the setups, testing all the bands doing their sound checks, looking at the different stages. The area is so gigantic. You turn around, there's another stage, there's a huge area, and then there's another huge stage. It just never ends. Hello, David. I saw your hello in the YouTube comments. Good afternoon. Hey, yo. Yeah, so lots of sound checks. Here's the palette stage. There, why? I don't know. Okay, so enough. Back to backstage to repair my sunglasses that fell apart, and my tour manager could luckily and Sinna, they had equipment to fix my sunglasses. And then we start playing. Here's just some cuts from the show. The audience, there was like a weird, I'm gonna explain you afterwards. It took almost an hour to get them dancing, and I will explain why later. Yeah, and that's it. After the show, we have to pack everything down, and that's that's just as much work as building everything up. So here we are, empty stage. We are finished, and then I go out backstage to show you what backstage area looks like. Around the tent and into our backstage room. This is our wardrobe. Whew, we are finished, and everybody's quite exhausted. I'm waving to you. Hello. NASA is dead from the heat. Yes. So afterwards, we're just like chatting and drinking and relaxing. I got my beaker and some white wine. That was it. It was too warm and I was too exhausted. So after the show, we actually just asked for transport back to the hotel. Yeah, and that's it. That was the Shiget festival. It was a day in Budapest, and what I was gonna explain about, like when we started performing, I'm used to kind of the audience coming up and being kind of like in front of us, but I couldn't figure out why everybody was sitting at the very back for at least I think 2/3 of the concert. And later when I reviewed my documentation footage, I have a camera just to kind of like film it, to kind of check for myself afterwards, and then I see that actually people come up to the stage immediately as we start playing, but then security guards come and push them away and kind of like, no, go back, go and sit down. I have no idea why. This was not our request. Maybe it was a security thing, I don't know. but that kind of explains why it felt very uphill at the start of the concert, because security guards kept pulling people back to the back of the tent. And towards the end of the show, some people came up to my sound tech Sinna, and I asked her, "Is it okay if we dance?" And she said, of course, go dance." And after that, for the last 10 minutes, there were people started more and more entering the dance floor. So that was a weird trip to Hungary. Elia Black, hello, good evening. Yeah, I've actually never been to Gisle Festival, but I've been to quite a lot of festivals, and they are all quite similar, if you ask me. Olivier, it's only these 2 shows now next weekend, and then I will take a very long break from touring and performing live. It's quite fun, but it's very exhausting, and it's quite a challenge to get shows up and running production-wise as a single-person operation. So I'm gonna take a break and focus on live streams. So you will be seeing a lot more of me, and I will be seeing a lot less of traveling and stages. I can play Harakiri Martini, but not tonight. But I'm noting that's a request for Harakiri Martini. It was on the track list for one of the earlier live streams, and it simply fell out because another track pushed it down. But it's doable. I noted, Alaya, I'm noting it. And if anybody else has requests, because next, I will, the next live stream on November 29th, that is actually exactly the day where Ugress turns 25 years old. Woohoo! So that's going to be a big party live stream with lots of special surprises, and yeah, it's going to be a party. So I do have planned quite a lot of tracks for that, so I don't know if I will be able to slot in requests for that exact live stream. But do let me know in the comments if there's any track that I haven't played in a long while or never, and you would like to see in a live stream. I'd be happy to perform it for you. Pharos Epoch. Oh, I think I did it once. But noted. It could be quite a while since I did it, so it's noted. Digaborsk. Elia, we actually played it live back in the 2000s. I played it live quite regularly, but I felt like that was most fun to play with that drummer. I had a different drummer back then, and he was very good with that specific track, and he loved playing that, so that was the reason why we played it quite a lot. Tentacle Lullaby, noted. Alright, it's just 7 minutes until starting, so the final thing I was gonna tell you was just after Budapest, I took the train up to Berlin, so from Budapest, and then I stopped in Saxony, Switzerland, the sandstone mountains between Czechia and Germany, and I went for a hike there. That was really great. There's this cute tram. Notice the number on the tram. I took tram number 22 into the mountains. I had a stupid hat because it was still very warm. So I hiked these wonderful paths, and as long as you stayed on the valley floor or on the side of the mountains, you had shade, and it was quite lovely to walk on these paths. I try to avoid being exposed at the tops, so I don't have a lot of great photos from like the views and stuff. But these wooden forest paths were really lovely, and that was a great break before coming to Berlin. And in Berlin, I'm going to recommend this to you just as a geek. There's a synthesizer museum in Berlin at Cottbusser Tor. It has this wonderful, they have one big room with lots of synths from each decade. Like here's the 80s room, and this one is the 70s room, and here's the like the new room, like the 00s room. And they have a lot of equipment, and the first Ugress album I used the Roland JP 8000. That was the synthesizer version, like the keyboard version of this one, and it was so great to kind of like, oh, I miss this so much. It was really fun, and I made quite a cool effort to make all of the rooms quite peculiar and fun, and you can play all of the synths and have a lot of fun with exploring the different sounds. So that's the tourist recommendation of this trip. Yes, I know I need to catch tram 44, and in a few years I'm going to be needing to catch tram 88. And in other news, stuff that's happened since last we spoke in July is that I was interviewed by the Norwegian national broadcaster, NRK, because back in 2002, when I had my big breakthrough with Ugress, that was partly through NRK Ugress. It's like a show that discovers new artists, and Ugress was announced the winner of that year's kind of like yearly contest. And they wanted to check in, kind of like how stuff how are you? Because Ugress is celebrating 25 years today. This year, which is incidentally the same as Ugress. So we had quite a lot of fun talking together and reminiscing about the time back then. I can't remember much about everything that happened, but it's very cool that both Ugress is still going strong and also NRK Ugress is still doing very well. The track in the background is Manhattan Sapphire. I think if you just Google Ugress Manhattan Sapphire, it's probably going to be very easy to find. Chim Chim Cherry, yes, it's very beautiful. Oh, how was Iceland, by the way? I remember in the previous live stream, you guys were going to go to Iceland, right? Did you go hiking? Was it beautiful? Thank you, Degoborski. Alright, we're shortly about to start. So, just before starting, once I start, things go very quickly and I won't have time to catch up with all of your lovely comments, but I do read them the next day, and I also make a note if anything I should answer the next time. I actually did that earlier today. I went through the comments of previous live stream, but there was nothing that needed a reply for tonight. But I do that, so if you ask a question and I do not manage to answer it tonight, I will answer it next time during the warm-up. Olivier, that's a good question. I don't think there's a formula. But I do tend to, I think I work with a phrase, or I have a core idea, and then the beats are the first thing that needs to fall into place. So I think I start with kind of like a loop or an idea or just a hum or a tiny melody, and then the next thing is the beats. And once those two things are there, then it's kind of like the structure is built from there. I think that's like an average, but there's so many exceptions to this. Choreo Symphonia. I'm also very much looking forward to the concerts next week. I'm so happy to see a lot of you are gonna show up. I don't know where, but do please come up after the show. After the show, I will be at the merch stand after the show to sign vinyl and stuff. So please come over and say hello. Thanks, Elia. And now we're gonna start in 2 minutes. I'm just gonna what was the few things I was gonna ask you about? Oh yes, I'm gonna repeat my questions. Is anybody interested in buying CDs? It looks like to me that nobody is, which confirms my suspicion, which is fine. But if you are interested in buying CDs from my web store, do please let me know, either in the comments or just send me an email at ugress.ugress.com. Michael P, good evening. And I'm gonna just inform you that I will have to close my vinyl store for 6 weeks, starting October 1st, because I will be traveling. After the Retrotopia tour, I will take 6 weeks off traveling. And for those 6 weeks, I won't be able to ship out vinyl. So I will just kind of close the store until November the 10th, and then I will be back. Another vinyl note is that shipping prices has been updated. It's now much cheaper to ship to Germany. Like everything close to Norway is now almost 30% cheaper, but further out, like France and more south, that's a little bit more expensive. And the US is gotten way more expensive, but that doesn't matter because US shipping is closed because of tariffs. Alright, it's 8 o'clock, so it's time to start. Oh, I'm glad to hear Iceland was beautiful. I hope one day to do the same too. I've been there, but only in Reykjavik. But it's 8 o'clock. I have to start. I'll get back to you on this one. Hello and welcome to Ugress TV episode 31. Woohoo! It's and the next episode is episode 42, and that's gonna be a very special episode. But first, if you want to participate on Zoom, do please join us up here with all the beautiful people on Zoom. There you go. I posted a link right now in the comments. If you click that, you can show up here and in the songs with your beautiful face or background or whatever you want on Zoom. Audio is of course coming from YouTube. For tonight, I'm gonna play a lot of new music. I also did that in the 2 previous live streams, and that's what I'm focused on now, is just testing out new stuff. But I'm also gonna pop in 2 classics, so I kind of keep it a little bit Ugressy. Everything for tonight that is new is work in progress. I'm just testing out stuff, and often the visuals and the song is not 100% good, well connected. I'm just testing stuff to see what works, what doesn't work. And very important, the next live stream on November 29th is the 25th anniversary of Ugress. The very first Ugress vinyl e-pipe came on November 29th, and I had a party back then. So we're gonna have a huge live stream party on Saturday, November 29th. Note the date. Okay, let's go. And the first track for tonight is Regression 22. Hello, Kip Kozak. Good evening. I'm now gonna play Regression 22.
Attention. You are now entering the demarcation area. No talking. No smoking. Follow the orange line to the processing area. The next scheduled departure to the moon is in 2 hours. You now have the option to terminate and be cremated on the premises. If you elect this option, notify the duty sergeant in your processing area.
Thank you. That was Regression 22 from 2008 from the Unicorn album. The next track is Face Worker Labor Hymn, which is a work in progress. I am just gonna zoom straight into that. So here's Face Worker Labor Hymn. All right, that was Face Worker Labor Hymn. It's a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. My main effort now is I feel like for every round of live streams, I get a little bit better at kind of making these characters work and groove in time with the rhythm. So it's a work in progress, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and it's a good bound. So I'm just gonna continue hitting the stride. In a stride. So the next one is yet another work in progress, and this one is called Character Select Premium Economy. shit. That's a lot of work. So that was character select in premium economy. And now we are at the moment of advertising. I'm just gonna let you know. Thank you for your applause. That's very nice. I'm just gonna let you know that I'm performing live next weekend. It's the final 2 shows of the Retrotopia tour. So this is the last opportunity for you. If you are in Hamar or Trondheim or in the vicinity of these 2 cities, we're playing Friday and Saturday next weekend. Here's a link to the live page on ugress.com with direct links to tickets and more information about the shows. I will, before moving on, is there any more information? No, we're going to move on, but I will just check in with your beautiful, lovely, applauding comments if there's anything that I should reply to. Electric Symphony. Thank you, Oliver. That's a good. I didn't think of it like that, but that's true. I'm curious. We did a general rehearsal with Patreon last night, and I forgot to ask people. I'm testing something new in the structure of songs. I'm gonna ask you a bit later because there are more new songs coming up. But I'm doing something with the structure of things. Let's talk about that a bit later. Evil Shrooms with a Plan. That's a good track. But I'm not so sure that the visuals for this track is actually this is the visuals for that track. I'm just testing stuff. Wow, that's a lot of beautiful comments. I'm gonna move on with more music. That's the focus of the live stream. So thanks for those. I'm looking forward to read all of your comments tomorrow. I do see all of them. For now, we're gonna move on to Gorvak Atmospheric Processing, another work in process. Phew, that was a Gorvak atmospheric processing with some VR guests helping me to perform there. So that was probably the last track with this kind of newness. This is not the first time. I started this almost a year ago with experimenting with the structure of a song. So instead of one song, I would say many of these are like 5 songs in one song. But instead of A, B, C song structure, it's song, 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 song structure. This is an experiment, but I do find I noticed something myself when I was listening to songs that kind of like I love listening to songs for 1 minute and then like, okay, that's enough. So I'm trying, for me, I'm making songs for myself where I kind of like, I try to change everything in the structure. So there's, after 1 minute, there's nothing left of what was started a minute ago, but it's still the same song. There's still kind of like an archetypical vibe to the whole thing. So it kind of sounds like the same thing, but it's a new song every minute. So that's the experiment. I'm testing this out to see how this goes. We are now at 30 minutes, and that's a perfect time to go back to the classics, and we're gonna play Planetfall from 2011, and then I'm gonna check in with your... I saw there was a bunch of comments passing by that I didn't have time to see, but I'm warm and in the tempo of things, so let's play Planetfall. Somebody missed the final. It wasn't me. It was. I don't know who did that. It was off camera, so it could have been anybody. All right, we're at the unskippable ad part of the of the concert. I do have vinyl for sale. You can hear stuff like this on precious vinyl, like on stuff like this, Echophonica 11. It's one of the compilation albums I have for sale. Only on vinyl. It's only on vinyl. The best of Ugress from the first 11 years, and there's also the next 11 years. And also there are 6 albums currently available. 2 of them are sold out, unfortunately. So this is a good moment to remind you. Prices are quite cheap for Norway, but average for the whole world. It's 200 NOK per album. Shipping is unfortunately quite expensive to everywhere. And just be aware that the store is only open for 1 more week. I have to close it for 6 weeks because after next week's show, I'm going to be traveling for 6 weeks and I won't be able to ship out vinyl until I'm back on November the 10th. We're going to move on, but before that, I will just, because the next track is the final track of tonight, so I will check in with your beautiful, beautiful comments and all of your lovely presence. It's so nice to do this. I have you guys on Zoom over there. That's so much fun to see you. And the Gorvak have changed the lighting to purple now, just to inform you all. It was green before. No, I don't sleep very well, thank you very much. But Michael, thanks for asking. But that's what I do when I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I go in here, I sit down back there, and I start working on mad music. So I don't mind. Like it. Okay, I would like to sleep a bit longer, but since I can't sleep, I'll just work. So that's what's happened. So you're right on spot. I don't sleep. Okay, I could take forever to look. I love reading your comments, but for now I'm going to focus on the next and final track for tonight, which is called Gothic Radiation Shielding. It's another work in progress, and I'm going to leave you with some dark cinematic beats for tonight. And I see you all on November 29th or next weekend at live shows in Hamar and Trondheim. Here comes Gothic Radiation Shielding.